Everybody, my name is Alison Celestine Ferranda, and I did my Women's Studies final presentation on medicalization. In this presentation, we'll go over different sources such as book source, article source, internet source, multimedia source, and even something that I came up with the graphs and data. Introduction. So the big question is, what is medicalization? A little introduction as to what it is. It's the process of defining non-medical problems or conditions and can be treated as medical issues. For example, ADHD, which I will dive into during the graphs and data part of this presentation. Other examples are low sex drive, bad breath, and even death. It involves transforming non-medical issues into medical ones, basically, often through the influence of medical professionals and even healthcare policies. So this topic has implications for understanding dominant norms, oppression, and marginalized identities, which we will talk about. Some of the factors that medicalization is connected with are various forms of structural oppression, including race, social class, and sexuality. People from marginalized racial and ethnic backgrounds face disparities in how medicalization affects them, often experiencing biased medical treatment. Social class also plays an important role, seeing as how individuals from lower socioeconomic backgrounds have limited access to medical interventions, creating health disparities. Sexuality can also play a significant role in medicalization by framing certain sexual experiences or behaviors as medical conditions, and it impacts marginalized groups that have different sexualities who may face discrimination in healthcare settings. The last factor is gender. Women in particular have been a subject to medicalization in ways that reflect and enforce gender norms. For example, the historical medicalization of childbirth and even menopause has often placed women's bodies under medical scrutiny, sometimes undermining their autonomy and anatomy. So this whole process and all these factors contribute to marginalized individuals, or basically behaviors and conditions that deviate from socially accepted norms can lead to their classifications as medical problems. So for my book source, I've chosen Peter Conrad's The Medicalization of Society on the Transformation of Human Conditions into Treatable Disorders. In his book, Conrad explores the historical and contemporary aspects of medicalization, and he provides an analysis of how various social and personal issues have been redefined as medical problems. In the book, he addresses illnesses or syndromes that relate to behavior, a psychic state, or bodily condition that now has a medical diagnosis and medical treatment. This book's basically pivotal to our course, as it underscores the sociological and ethical dimensions of health, and it encourages us to critically analyze the power dynamics at play in healthcare. Also, the author of this book argues that medicalization has led to an over-reliance on medical solutions for social problems, which can result in overdiagnosis and overtreatment. This particularly is relevant to our class as it challenges the traditional biomedical model and urges us to consider the broader societal factors that influence our health. For my article source, I did it on biomedicalization by Clark, Memo, Foskett, Fishman, and Shim. This article is an extension of medicalization that emphasizes the role of technology and science in transforming health and illnesses. This article is important to our course as it expands and explores a discussion of medicalization to include technological advancements, highlighting their impact on healthcare practices and patient experiences. This actually is very important to me because I'm a pre-nursing major, so I learned a lot of medical narratives that this article had. The authors contend that biomedicalization has led to new forms of social control and inequality, as access to scientific resources are often limited nowadays. This analysis encourages us to examine how technological advancements shape our understandings of health and illness, aligning with the course focus on intersection of technology and society. For my internet source, I did it on Selling Sickness, the Pharmaceutical Industry and Disease Mongering by Moynihan, Heath, and Henry. The article from this British medical journal critically examines how the pharmaceutical industry plays a huge role in the medicalization process by promoting disease mongering. Disease mongering is basically the action of promoting the idea that normal conditions are medical illnesses to increase the market for treatments. It's pretty crazy. This source is credible as it comes from a peer-reviewed journal and is authored by experts in the field. The article provides a comprehensive overview of how economic interests can influence medical definitions and treatments, and in doing so, it highlights the complexity and potential ethical issues surrounding medicalization. It also offers a balanced perspective on the topic, and it encourages us readers to think about the motivations behind the expansion of medical diagnosis and treatment. Multimedia source. For my multimedia source, I did it on this movie called Pieces of a Woman by Cornel Munjukso. This is a recent film that explores themes of medicalization through the lens of a woman's experience. So I feel like a lot of people can relate to this personally, because we've all met a female at one point in our lives. If not, then that's very sad. Anyway, one important quote from this film is that they want to control everything, even when they don't know what they're doing. Made by the filmmaker in 2020, this highlights the tension between personal experiences and the often impersonal nature of medical interventions. By showcasing the protagonist's struggle with grief and medical community's response, the film prompts a critical examination of how medicalization can sometimes overshadow personal autonomy and feelings. This ties in with how gender is affected by medicalization, as I previously mentioned. So, graphs and data, I decided to add this because graphs can be powerful tools, and it can also show trends in a visually accessible manner. In context of medicalization, they provide a clear and concise way to convey how certain conditions, behaviors, or issues have increasingly become defined and treated as medical problems. As previously mentioned in my book source, Conrad's book is crucial for understanding the pervasive manner of medicalization in contemporary society, highlighting how conditions like ADHD have been medicalized over time. So this graph illustrates the significant rise in ADHD diagnosis over 2 decades, highlighting the medicalization of behavior and attention-related issues. Based on the data from where I got this from, the median age of the onset children with current ADHD was around 6 years old. The diagnosis for severe ADHD was at 4. The median age of diagnosis for moderate ADHD was at 6. And the median age of diagnosis for mild ADHD was at 7 years old. This data shows the growing influence of medicalization in shaping diagnostic criteria and treatment approaches. By visualizing the trend in front of us, this graph provides historical context because it shows a trend over a long period of time. This, in turn, encourages discussion regarding the factors like diagnostic criteria, increased awareness, and perhaps overdiagnosis. I feel like adding graphs and data can be a springboard for discussing policy implications in the future, like the need for better diagnostic standards or alternative treatments, thus adding depth through the exploration of medicalization. This pie graph shows the lifetime prevalence of ADHD among U.S. adolescents. So 69.3% take medication for ADHD, while 30.7% do not. Not taking medication as prescribed can be seen as resistance to medication, as it represents a rejection of the medical model of defining and treating condition through medication. The addition of these graphs, which I tried, and I hope it will enhance the visual representation for you viewers, allowing you guys to grasp the trends in which it may have more of an impact than text have or words alone have. So I hope they basically serve as a supporting evidence about medicalization trends. This is the valued learning as well as the conclusion. The medicalization within society has profound implications for how we understand and address health issues. Through the analysis of various sources, including books, journal articles, online articles, and multimedia, this video provides an overview of medicalization as well as highlight our valued learning of this topic. As our course explores the intersection of health, society, and technology, understanding medicalization is crucial for developing a holistic and improved perspective on contemporary healthcare challenges. These are my references. That concludes my presentation. Thank you for listening along, and Merry Christmas, everybody.